We're going to turn to some breaking news now. Britain's King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer. Buckingham Palace announced that he would not be fulfilling his public duties. Last month, the King spent several days in hospital for an enlarged prostate. Tests then identified a separate type of cancer. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wished Charles well and said that he had no doubt the King would be back to full strength in no time. Well, Sonia Gallego is standing by in London. And Sonia, talk us through, firstly, how this announcement was made.
Well, it has been reported via through Buckingham Palace as well, with the announcement that King Charles, while he has been advised not to undertake any public duties at this time, he still will be undertaking state business and official paperwork. He came back down from Norfolk to his home in London, and it was, of course, just a little over a week ago that he was undergoing treatment for benign prostate enlargement at a private hospital in London. Now, as far as we know, and as far as what the palace is saying, is that this diagnosis of cancer is not to do with the health issue that he has with his prostate. However, this openness that we're seeing from the palace as well, from the royal family themselves, is, according to the palace, a way for the King to encourage men, especially men in his age bracket, he is 75 years old, to have their prostates checked and also to have a more openness with regards, accountability with regards to his own health as well. And of course, another member of the family, his daughter-in-law, the Princess of Wales, Catherine, was also in hospital as well, having another health issue. But also with this atmosphere of openness that is being seen with the palace, they want to make sure that whatever issues, health or otherwise, that the royal family are having, that it is accountable to the public, and that if they can help provide any health messages to the public, then this is the way that they would do it. But in the meantime, apart from undertaking his treatment on Monday, it will be certainly a slower timetable that the King will be following given his treatment.
And Sonia, has there been any indication as yet as to what type of cancer this could be?
No, although they are being open, there's only so much information that they are allowing to go into the public field, as it were. But of course, with the particular type of health issue that the King has been undergoing treatment for that benign prostate enlargement, it is certainly obvious that this is a message, a health message, that they're willing to kind of get more men in the age bracket to check out. Of course, it is sometimes underdiagnosed and it can be deadly, of course. But these issues, of course, pertain to the fact that men of that age will succumb to some of those health issues. And while we don't know exactly what kind of cancer the King has been diagnosed with, certainly it is a reminder that other people, perhaps, and the royal family themselves are certainly not immune from such conditions. And it is certainly something that they want to transmit to the public here.
And obviously, Sonia, we await for further details coming from the palace. But do we anticipate any comments from the likes of Prince William, for instance?
I think perhaps really that will be left to the household of the King himself. The Prince of Wales will be focusing on his own remit, and of course, it is his wife has also has undergone treatment as well, and her own health issues, and he's already mentioned that he would be really focusing on that and focusing on where he can take over from or how he can help out his father, the King, on certain other duties, perhaps fulfilling some of the public duties that the King is unable to do so right now. But unless there is more information which has been okayed by the household, it is unlikely that the Prince of Wales will speak on behalf of his father, unless there are, of course, instructions to do so.
All right. Sonia, many thanks for that. Sonia Gallego there in London on the breaking news that King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer. Let's bring in Richard Fitzwilliams now. He's a royal watcher and commentator and public relations specialist. He joins us from London. A very warm welcome to you. So the announcement made not that long ago. What does this mean, obviously, in terms of King Charles's ability to continue doing his duties?
So far as we understand, he will be able to function with the most basic, say, for example, signing bills into law, that sort of thing. I mean, should it in any future occasion, which we must most sincerely hope it does not, mean that there is anything any form of incapacity, then there would be there's a procedure whereby councillors of state will act for him. I mean, as things stand, this has, of course, been a shock, as your correspondent was noting. He was recently in hospital for a benign prostate enlargement, and it was then that this form of cancer, and we don't know the details, was spotted. So obviously this is serious news.
How much of a departure is it from what we may have seen with previous monarchs regarding how candid and open the King and indeed the royal household has been about this diagnosis?
It is something that's completely new, really. I mean, on the occasion, for example, when Queen Elizabeth was in hospital, there was a reporter picking it up and then disseminating the news. The royals, of course, would far prefer, and indeed we've seen this in the different approaches of the King and also of Catherine, Princess of Wales, to their various illnesses. She has been as open as she feels able to be. When he had the procedure for prostate, he shared it with the nation. The hope was, and indeed this has been reflected in numbers of people looking at the National Health Service website, and also more awareness of this condition. And this is what he's trying to do. So whereas at a very difficult time for himself, he is thinking of how to help others. And some of these issues, and of course prostate issues, for example, are very sensitive. Sometimes people put it off and sometimes too late. So in that sense, these statements from Buckingham Palace are groundbreaking.
Of course, the huge question is this survivable? What are the next steps? Has there been any announcement from the palace regarding treatment?
We don't know details. We only know that he's undergoing treatment, as I understand it, and this hopefully in coming days, as and when it's thought appropriate, we will be updated. There's no doubt, as I say, it is a shock if you actually consider that he was the longest-serving Prince of Wales in history. He's been on the throne since the death of Queen Elizabeth in September of the year before last, a relatively short reign, and it must be sincerely hoped. He's a very fit person, and there is no question of his absolutely remarkable ability as a sort of convener king on environmental issues, on issues dealing with interreligious understanding and so forth, as well as his constitutional position. But there's no doubt this is bad news, and the nation will be, I think, somewhat shocked by it.
What does this mean for other royals and their roles? Does this mean we are likely to see the likes of Prince William, the future king, step up to the mark to fulfil some of the duties that King Charles will not be able to continue doing while he's receiving treatment, for instance?
Well, we expect precisely that to happen. The problem has been that with the Princess of Wales unwell and indeed unable to participate in royal engagements till at least the Easter period and possibly longer thereafter, she was in hospital for something like a fortnight. There's no doubt it's just been announced that the Prince of Wales will carry out his first duty on the 7th of February, so that is relatively soon. But there's no doubt also that there's talk of a slimline monarchy where there are far fewer members of the royal family able to carry out engagements. I mean, we now have the king with a cancer diagnosis. We had the Princess of Wales, most unfortunately, unable to perform duties for a number of weeks. There's no doubt at all a lot will rest on both the Prince of Wales and, of course, Queen Camilla, who has been quietly but conscientiously continuing her duties. But essentially, we will have to obviously wait and see what future bulletins show and hope that the King will, as he undoubtedly would wish, be back and able to perform his duties very soon.
Well, that is, of course, the hope of many, many people there in the United Kingdom. Richard Fitzwilliams, many thanks for joining us. And just to repeat, the breaking news that we've received a short while ago is that Britain's King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer.